Hello class, and welcome to the second episode of my little PvP mini-series. So I decided to show you guys a few of the more advanced aspects of PvP. Like, for example, the gestures I've been using all day, or all my series actually. They are very important to have, because you can use them to signify what you're thinking at the moment. The bow is considered a respectful gesture. It means that you are ready to fight, or that you really enjoyed the duel and you're, like, honoring your opponent. Some gestures like the joy are like, yes, we finally beat him, like for co-op or that kind of thing. The well, what is it gesture is my least favorite. The look skyward is like a face palm. It's like, oh. Well, what is it is really my least favorite. It's basically like showing arrogance and you're like, what up? I beat you. And that's just kind of rude. So I got out the shadow set so I can compare it to what I'm using currently. As you can see, the Painting Guardian leggings are still holding up fine. I switched to the Wanderer set because the Wanderer gloves, because you can see they're way better. Now you may be wondering about my weight. I've got that all figured out. Anyways, you can see the Dingy Robe is way better than the Shadow Garb in pretty much every aspect. And yeah. Now I'm also using, still have the Crest Shield because it's pretty effective. I'm also using Logan's Catalyst, as I already explained. Pretty simple stuff. Though you could use the Tin Crystallization Catalyst should you want to, but I don't really prefer that. The Enchanted Balder Side Sword, as I mentioned earlier, possibly, has a much faster moveset than the Great Scythe. And although it does a little less damage, it's worth it for the faster attacks because in PvP it's very hard to hit your opponent with a slower weapon. Plus, it's also especially useful for spamming, because you can see the Great Scythe is much, much slower than the Balder Side Sword. Plus, it's a halberd, so if you miss, which is quite likely in PvP, you're going to get punished for it. So yeah, I prefer the Balder Side Sword not only because of its weight decrease, but because of its much faster moveset. Now, you may notice the Shodel here. This is a very good weapon in PvP because it can sneak damage around shields. So if you run into someone who's hiding behind a shield all the time, like a noob would, but that's what you added. Anyway, if you run into someone who's hiding behind a shield, then you can use that weapon to sneak around damage. I upgraded it just in case I should ever need it. Now, you shouldn't need it too much, but should you ever want to. I also have a weapon here called Ricard's Rapier. I might have shown you how that works. It's pretty nice. Basically what I do is I use it and I put a catalyst in my offhand. I use Crystal Magic Weapon to buff up its damage incredibly high. So it's way more effective than the side sword, but it's a rapier. So its attacks are all straightforward, so it's kind of hard to hit with them. Although when you do, if it's buffed up, it does a lot of damage. I personally don't like to rely on buffs. This is the Dark Hand. It's a weapon unique to the Dark Wraiths. You get it when you join the Covenant. It basically it has a special function. It acts as a fist weapon for the most part. As you can see, it has a fist moveset similar to the Asylum Demon stuff I showed you anyway. It also has a special heavy attack when it's placed in your forehand. It's a grab attack that leeches humanity from the target. Quite useful on NPCs because it surprisingly enough doesn't aggro most of them. And on high level PvPers if you want to take some of their hugely stacked humanities. So that's pretty nice, but it also has a secondary function. Equip it in your offhand. I'm going to go ahead and put my Balder Side Sword back. Equip it in your offhand, then it works as a shield. As you can see, its resistances are not terribly good. It has 80% in everything, but this can actually be considered quite good if you're fighting enemies that focus on elemental attacks, because it has very high resistances in all of those, comparatively. But its stability is fairly low anyway. And it only has 80% physical resistance, but it just looks so awesome. Anyway, but you can't use the grab attack while it's in your offhand, so you could like dual wield Dark Hands or something, and you could be like, I don't know, a Dark Mage. I don't really know. Anyway, I'm also using the Crown of Dusk instead of the Gargoyle Helm, because even though the Gargoyle Helm is better, the Crown of Dusk not only weighs less, but it also has this unique effect to buff up all my spells, which is very important for this build. I also have it's pretty much it. I'm also wearing a ring to buff up the power of my spells as well. So basically, they're about as good as they're gonna get at 50 intelligence with Logan's Catalyst and the Bellowing Dragon Crest Ring, which boosts the sorcery power, and the Crown of Dusk, which boosts that. The Dingy Robe also gives me a pretty good bonus to my magic armor, so that kind of compensates for the Crown of Dusk's magic resistance lowering. So there's a few items you can have equipped. Humanity for healing, of course. The Estus Flask isn't very important. Throwing Knives for a ranged projectile. It's not really that important, but it's something, I guess. The Black Separation Crystal allows you to return to your world. Say in case you invade someone friendly and you're kind of done and you want to head back to your world. That's pretty nice. Now the red sign, it basically works like the white sign soapstone, where you leave your sign on the ground and someone can summon it, but instead of summoning, say, a helpful white phantom, they summon a red phantom that allows you to duel them. So it can be used outside of any covenant, and it's pretty simple. Works just like as if you had invaded with a dark wraith with the red eye orb or cracked eye orb, and basically it's just a more honorable way of dueling. I'm gonna go ahead and equip the ring and show you guys a few duels with this better build, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, and here we are. So there we go. Let's go ahead and swap out for the Darkwood Grain Ring really quick. Loading screen. And here we are. There's nobody behind me. So I invaded someone named Dr. Siffy. Okay. So I tried to make all these duels show you something interesting about Dark Souls. Like, for example, there's a couple duels later where I show you how phantoms work in PvP. But basically this is just a single-person duel against someone using a buff. It does wear off over time, but it looks like he's a sorcerer as well. So be careful of his buffed-up weapon. He, when he hits you, it does do a lot of damage, especially because of your Crown of Dusk. It also does quite a bit of damage. His sorceries do quite a bit of damage, but with the right dodging and proper timing, you can get a pretty good hits on. Now, as you can see, he's using the Grass Crest shield, which only has 95% physical resistance and a pretty low magic resistance. So he can sneak in a lot of damage, surprisingly enough. And since he has that still low health, even a little bit of damage that we can sneak in should be enough to kill him. So there you go. Pretty simple. Bow respectfully to show that you enjoyed said duel and that the other opponent fought good and well. Although sometimes it can be used mockingly because you might have used cheap tactics or something like that. Anyway. So yeah, it's pretty simple. You win the duel, you're teleported back to where you were, and you get a few souls and an upgrade item. Although you could get the pendant sometimes. I have like 8 of those now. Anyway, let's go ahead and put the ring back on and show you guys another duel in a sec. And there we go. And I'm back. Alright, let's swap out for the Darkwood Grain Ring really quickly. Loading screen, and here we are. So yeah, just keep an eye out for any damage above their heads. It only shows up when damage is dealt, so it allows you to locate the host, because only the host can actually deal damage, or a phantom, but the phantoms can only really deal damage to the host, and even if it's a friendly phantom or something, you can kill that for souls. I'll talk about that more later. So it looks like he is using some sort of a mod. He's also trying to summon a phantom too. But luckily it doesn't actually work. Anyway, so he's using a mod to make his head look like that. It's an interesting little thing, but it's not really anything you have to worry about. Now, I'm hoping I can get the phantom to come up, but it's not going to happen this time. So, anyway. Just try to hit him with as many spells as you can. It's a pretty simple tactic. But, as you can see, most skilled PvPers, as this guy appears to be, are very adept at dodging spells. Fortunately, his shield does not have terribly good resistances and everything, so it's pretty easy to get in dark bead damage. Yeah, you might want to invest in a little bit of dex for this build, so that your spells cast just that little bit faster. It's a nice little addition to said build. So yeah. Anyway, if someone tries to heal, they're frozen in an animation for a second, so it's easy to get behind them and stab them. You can see the Baldur's Side Sword also has a poke attack. It's got ridiculous range and also completely ridiculous damage. So it's really, really effective, and it's one of the main reasons anyone ever uses this weapon. I probably should have opted for a backstab there, but I don't know, maybe it just wouldn't take it too long. Anyway, Humanity's restored him to full health, which is better than the Estus Flask he was using earlier, which only restored like a fourth or the third or something. So yeah, this is what a match between skilled players looks like, guys. except generally the other person's head is not glowing. That's just a mod. As you can see, he got a parry on me. It's a double animation, and he manages to knock me out with a parry. As you can see, he's being kind of rude in my opinion, but, well, at least it was a good duel. I don't particularly like it when people do the, well, what is it to me. It's just, it just implies that they're being arrogant, and I just don't really like that. Anyway, let's put the ring back on, and hope for a duel with a phantom this time. Alright, there we go. Sorry about the weird jumps, but I have to switch between windows whenever I see the invading another world message. It can get kind of clumsy. As you can see, the damage little indicator thing was over there, so let's go ahead and run over there. Now, I believe this guy does have a phantom with him, but it's not a terribly long fight, and the phantom's not that good. But it does allow me to show you how red phantoms work in PvP compared to blue phantoms and other phantoms. So it looks like they're having a bit of a gesture war. I don't really know what they're doing. But basically, red phantoms are other invaders. Your combined purpose is to kill the host. But there is a neat little glitch or something of some sort that allows you, as a blue phantom, to damage red phantoms, and red phantoms to damage you as a blue phantom. So it's a nice little thing, I guess. That it's pretty neat. But I'll show demonstrations of that in a bit. Anyway, so generally you might work together, but in a fight club setting, or you could do like a three-way duel, like he's opting to do here. So we're gonna go ahead and fight it out. Unfortunately, as far as I know, the host gets all the benefit from this. So it's kind of a win for him, and a lose for the person of us that dies. Should the host die, we both get rewards. But unfortunately, he kills us pretty quickly, so it looks like he's more qualified to kill said host. Either that or he was working with the host the entire time, and was just tricking him to kill invaders. But it doesn't look like he was, because he's going after the host now. Anyway, so red phantoms can damage blue phantoms, and white phantoms, and just all that kind of stuff. But I'll talk more about white phantoms when we get to that, which should be the next duel. Anyway, go ahead and pause the recording, and there we go. So now we're ready for another duel. Go ahead and put the Darkwood Grain Ring back on. Don't see any damage indicators at the moment. I believe this is the guy that we saw with the cool looking hair earlier. Now he's using another mod along with his phantom. So his hair still looks blue, his phantom's hair looks purple, and the phantom does not look like a phantom, which is a really interesting thing. As you can see, that looks like the phantom right there, the one I'm locked onto. His hair is purple, and he's different from the host right there. But unfortunately, there's no way to actually tell because he's using a mod to mask that. I've only seen this twice. Once in my Sacred Waters video that you can look up. It's pretty short and simple. And once here. So anyway, looks like they're using similar builds at least. It's quite easy to backstab guys with heavy weapons like this. Now, it doesn't look like he's actually a phantom. Because the host was not healing him. I'll talk about that more later, of course, in the part of the video where I actually get to show you a real phantom fight. Perhaps it's like a local co-op of some sort, where these guys are actually playing together on the same computer or something. I really have no idea what's going on, so if you guys do, please let me know, because these guys aren't acting like phantoms at all. Anyway, it's just really odd, and I thought I'd include it. Why not? Anyway, yeah. So let's go ahead and put the Cat Covenant ring back on and go for another invasion. There we go. Okay. Glad you guys don't have to wait. Anyway, so there we go. And another loading screen. And here we are. Now this can sometimes happen, because the forest co-op and that kind of thing. You'll invade, and the person will instantly die, and you'll get a whole bunch of points and an upgrade item. I really don't know why this happens. Well, I do know why this happens. You invade, and then someone and then the host dies immediately afterwards. But it can get quite interesting. So, yeah, random souls, woohoo. Anyway, on to the next couple duels, which should both include phantoms, I believe, so I can talk to you guys more about the white phantoms and co-op as it relates to PvP. I'll post another video later relating to co-op, this thing where you are the phantom specifically. Anyway, I believe this is the guy, so you don't have to. So yeah, as you can see, there's two people up there. One of them is shining white. I'm really happy there's a phantom. So the phantom acts as another character. They can use multiple person tactics against you, as if you were also like in dual person PvP against people. Like basically, this is a response to two force hunters being able to invade you at one time. This is called ganking, when someone summons a phantom and uses that phantom to invade in the forest. So I'll just talk about white phantoms for a bit. So white phantoms can be healed by the host using Estus flasks, which I find kind of unfair, but it does work because the phantoms themselves cannot use Estus flasks. Unfortunately, it allows the host to stand back while you duel the phantom and heal the phantom continuously. So, just keep in mind, you do not have to kill the white phantom. Doing so does give you a bonus in souls, but no other bonus. So if you're looking for souls or just a challenge, you can go for the phantom first, but be warned that the host can heal the phantom. So, anyway, just keep that in mind. Yeah. So, anyway, so if you want a easier experience, you can actually go ahead and just kill the host directly. This does banish all phantoms, so you won't get the bonus for killing said phantom, but it does end the duel quicker, and you do get the basic rewards. So if you're just looking for humanity as a dark wraith, or upgrade items as a person, you can just go for the host automatically. So as you can see, this guy is letting us do our honor duel first. Since it's just one person, it's considered a fair fight. If this person had a phantom, the other force hunter would be helping me right now. But it's considered more of a fair fight if only one person goes after a single host at a time. So now that the host has killed me, it is the other guy's turn to try and kill the host. It's just an honor thing, really. If you want to go against people's honor system and get them really mad and that kind of thing, you can fight 2 versus 1, but that just encourages ganking, and then you might get stuck in a 2 versus 1 situation where you're the one. So that's generally not a good situation to be in. Anyway, this last one should be a proper duel that lasts quite a little bit more time. That includes a phantom, so I can talk a little bit more about the role of the phantom. So, as I may or may not have said earlier, it is the phantom's job to protect the host. So generally, if you go after the host, the phantom will probably try and kill you. So yeah, just be warned of that. Generally, it's better to kill the phantom first because you do get a better reward. But if you want to go for the host, that's your choice. So I'm actually going to try and sneak up behind these guys and get a free backstab on the phantom. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out, but I do get a pretty good spam attack. Looks like he actually had his fists equipped, so that backstab did pretty much nothing other than give the phantom a little bit of time to recover. So, yeah, basically, if you're looking for a bit more of a challenge and a few more souls, go after the phantom directly. Now, here's a nice little helpful thing. A Dark Wraith has also invaded these guys, and he is actually helping me out with this fight. So as you can see, the phantom is healed when the host uses Estus flasks. Anyway, so it looks like it's my job to take out the phantom as quickly as I can, and it's the Dark Wraith's job to either distract or kill the host while I take on the phantom. Now this is a co-op PvP where you separate the phantom from the host. making it a bit easier on each duelist and giving you a bit more of a challenge. And yeah, pretty simple. So this guy pulling out the catalyst reminded me of the purpose of this build. So I gave him a good strong dark bead. He reverts to his human form and dies. So now we both can focus on the host at the same time. Unfortunately, the guy just killed him right off. So I didn't get a piece of the host at all, but I did manage to kill the Phantom, giving us a little boost in our soul count. And yeah, so both the Dark Wraith and the Force Hunter are happy. So remember, hosts can summon up to 2 Phantoms at once, but this won't be encountered often. If this does happen, generally it's a good idea to just run around and wait for another Force Hunter or Dark Wraith to invade, because this place is pretty PvP heavy. Anyway, that's enough for this episode. Class is dismissed, and I'll see you guys in co-op.